they dangle the threat of war with Russia over our heads, distracting you with tales of a potential invasion of one so-called Eastern European democracy by another. There's another Russia story that they, the left and their media hacks, pun intended here, just don't want to talk about, right?
That's something I can't speak to from this podium, so I refer you to the Department of Justice.
Is what was described in that report, monitoring internet traffic, is that spying?
Again, I can't speak to that report. I refer you to the Department of Justice.
Generally speaking, that with monitoring internet traffic.
Jackie, my answer is not going to change. I refer you to the Department of Justice.
Nice little Pierre dodge there. Well, we won't dodge it. We're going to talk about it. We will, and we must, because this is a doozy, folks. Stick with me here. I want to say it's unbelievable, but given Hillary's past, the story isn't unbelievable. It's right in line. Our story begins back in 2016, Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, which of course led to the deliciously sweet defeat of Hillary Clinton by Donald Trump. But now we know that Hillary had a long history of shady dealings and accusations from associations from Whitewater to Travelgate to Clinton Foundation shadiness. She and her hubby, Bill, they practically invented the D.C. swamp Americans so loathe. The 2016 collusion scam, plastered all over mainstream media headlines, became fodder for secret and unjustified warrants, and later for Robert Mueller's 2-year mole hunt that turned up this much: zero evidence of collusion. And along the way, the Clinton campaign willingly, enthusiastically, in fact, fed all of these bogus claims to a very willing and gullible media. Yep, I'm talking to you, CNN, ABC, MSNBC. Back in early 2017, Trump tweeted that he had his wires tapped in Trump Tower. So it turns out he was kind of right. But while the lamestream media was so willing to gobble up the fake Russia collusion story, they just weren't having it with these spying claims.
No one was spying on the president through the microwave.
No one spied on the Trump campaign.
There was no spying.
There was no spying.
No spying.
There was 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 no spying. There was no spying.
Wow. By the way, there was no spying, of course.
There was no spying.
There was no spying
on the Trump campaign.
on the Trump campaign.
It's been a year and a half.
There was no spying on the Trump campaign.
I don't know about you, but Don Lemon was my favorite. No spying on the Trump campaign, but there was, folks. So we thought it was just them peddling some twisted little nibbles to see who would bite, and now we know that it was even worse and even deeper than that. Seriously, if you made this up, you'd be laughing out of a Netflix story pitch. But a bombshell new report from the ongoing Durham investigation. In a court filing on Friday, special counsel John Durham said he discovered that Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign paid a web firm to, quote, infiltrate servers at Trump Towers and the White House to try and tie Trump to Russia. Let me say it again in a different way because they won't touch it. Hillary's campaign paid to hack into Trump's computers at his private home and in Trump Tower and at the White House. That's right, a hack for a hack, caught red-handed or blue-handed in this case. So the Clinton campaign is effectively accused of spying, a too insane to believe abuse of public and private resources to gather dirt on Donald Trump that actually turned up no dirt at all uncovered by Durham, the lawyer investigating the origins of the Russia inquiry. Durham was appointed by Bill Barr, Trump's attorney general, to get to the bottom of whether or not the intelligence collected involving the Trump campaign was actually lawful and appropriate, which it turns out it was not. And let me say this. You know, the left loves to throw around the word insurrection. For them, that applies to anyone and everyone who's either associated with Trump or is a Trump supporter. But I tell you what, the Clinton campaign spying on the Trump campaign and using that as the basis for now debunked phony Russian collusion narratives, spying, hacking, that is insurrection. And boy, would I love to be a fly on the wall of whatever room Trump is in right now, his team are sitting in right now. It turns out he was right all along, which makes this moment from the past even sweeter.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Mic drop. Now, Hacking Hillary is back at her usual antics to deflect and distract us. On Friday, Hacking Hillary and her hacks on the left tried to play up a story that Trump destroyed public records. Destroying official records, something Hillary knows a thing or two about, I'd say. Like Hillary, pretending that was her own emails were not a thing, making a joke out of it, let's not gloss over the fact that Hillary Clinton sent and received classified emails on her private server. And back in 2015, when Hillary was asked about whether she wiped her email server clean before giving it to the FBI, she had jokes.
That's all I could say. I'm not, I have no idea. That's why we turned it over.
You were in charge of it. You were the official in charge. Did you wipe the server?
What, like with a cloth or something?
I don't know.
Well,
you know
no.
how it works digitally. Did you try to wipe the whole server?
I don't know how it works digitally at all. I do not have any.
You did not try.
Ed, I know you want to make a point, and I can just repeat what I have said.
Yeah, sure, Hillary, you don't know how it works digitally, just enough to spy and hack. And at another event in 2015, she couldn't help herself. More bad jokes.
By the way, you may have seen that I recently launched a Snapchat account. I love it. I love it. Those messages disappear all by themselves.
Yuck, 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 yuck. What does that even mean, Hillary? Sure, that joke drew some laughs, but reporters got serious about asking Hillary about the controversy, and she denied it again, saying she never sent or received classified material on her personal email. But thousands of pages of Clinton's released emails revealed that she did, in fact, receive top secret messages. And now we know, now it all makes sense. Hillary Clinton tried to distract us from her use of her private email server by telling her lawyers to hack into Trump's servers to try and fabricate ties to his campaign and the Kremlin. You really can't make this stuff up. Hillary, the left, the lamestream media, they spent years on the Steele dossier, now proven to be fake. The Hillary Clinton campaign's bogus Steele dossier of allegations against Donald Trump deserves its infamy among the top ever political abuses. And here we are, the desperate attempt by a woman scorned by the American public that didn't want her, trying to prove something that actually never existed. You know, Hillary Clinton's words against Monica Lewinsky, the woman her husband, then president, actively had an affair with, she publicly shamed Lewinsky. Lewinsky has said many times over that she was depressed as a result, suicidal even, that she felt she was admonished, sent to a prison of sorts outside of society. Hillary Clinton deserves more than just a proverbial prison sentence. If these findings are true, and Hillary knew about all of this, then she deserves that's coming her way. And maybe finally, please, our pleas, become a reality.